Welcome to EVE Online, I'm Major Freak. So, what we're dealing with is a situation with camera work and how to explain the different camera options you're given by the game. And the main one is the orbit camera. So when you're looking at a ship and you've got your ship looking at, and I've got dynamic camera movement on. If I've got it like this, it's pretty good, but I'd like to track things, and because I'd like to be cinematic, I'd be like, I want to show this, that guy shooting at me, right? So it's kind of cool, but if you don't have dynamic camera movement on, you're going to be looking at it through the center of your ship, and it doesn't look, it looks kind of weird sometimes, especially when you're fighting players and stuff. You can't get a sense of perspective, as in, how far it is away from you and stuff. You've only got the range indicator. Now, it's a bit annoying, so I turned dynamic camera movement on, and that will allow me to go track, and it offsets your camera. Now, this is not what you think it is, at all. This one, based on ship zoom level and events such as docking and undocking, it's got a mind of its own, so you have to be careful, because it might look cool here, but if you look at that ship and you've got dynamic camera movement on, it does this weird thing where it's leaving you in space. It's almost like you're in tactical free view, and it just leaves you behind. Bye. And it's like, I was trying to get a good angle, so in order to get a good angle, what you have to do, a reverse angle, you pretty much have to find your ship or a buddy right next to you, which is even easier. And it's hard to do when you're dynamic camera, because it always wants to force this view change. So the best way to do it is to go into tactical camera, and I like to slave my, you'll see it's not moving at all, as in it pretty much disables the camera, the dynamic camera, except, give me a sec. There. So we've got this ship. It's tracking with the displacement. If we go no dynamic camera and apply, it's going to do the same thing. Give me a sec. Look at my ship. Look at. And track. Now, when you track in tactical camera, it acts a lot differently than if you say you had it in orbit camera. It's not going to be centered on the ship. Your center of gravity for your camera is actually a little bit behind the ship. In fact, literally right here. So what's going to happen is, I'll go look at my ship, I'll look at you. Now I'll go here, and I'm going to go, I want to track my ship now. And it's going to track you, not from this ship, but where your camera was. It's a bit disconcerting. It can work in certain situations, but you have to be really good at managing it. Otherwise, it ends up with you staring off into space, and it's not really looking at anything. that you intended in the foreground, because the foreground will shift as you look at your main ship in the background. I prefer. It's fun to use it sometimes. I haven't perfected it, but what I do know is that I'm not good enough at it yet to think. And this is the problem. This is the review of the Alliance tournament I just gave. They use this consistently and switch it up constantly with different camera angles using the same method, and as you can see, it doesn't work. It's not a good. I've just been googling it actually. Live switching between mix of wide shots, close-ups, two shots, which is framed two people kind of. It's kind of they call it a mid shot, medium shot, not a long shot. Wide shots are long, close-ups are close. Reaction shots are pretty much. When you're trying to frame, they say when you're trying to frame two people, you're trying to get the emotional interaction between the two of them, and you're like, okay. You could have just used framing and just left it at that. Thanks. So it's how you frame the shot, and framing the shot is really hard using this. It is really difficult to get it right, and it messes up a lot because the foreground is constantly moving, and you can't really sort it. And I don't know what these guys are doing. I'm going to try to orbit. All right. So this camera still wants to track me, but it still wants to keep at a certain point at a certain distance from this right here, but it wants to aim the camera here. So it wants to, center of gravity is going to be fixed at a certain point in reference to this that I'm looking at, right? So I've looked at this, as you can see, I've looked at this entity. I am now, I had ranged myself to be exactly this distance behind with the camera, and then I tracked my own ship. And what it's doing is it wants to stay, it's gonna stay in this position absolutely 100%, but it wants to frame, it wants to aim, like with the frame, you've got to fix, I'm trying to use the Google camera switching thing. I'm trying to frame it with a mid shot and the thing is, I want to keep both those in view, but sometimes you can't. It's just because your camera position is fixed behind a certain point, and it's not going to adjust automatically to keep both in view. Right now I'm really lucky it's not having the frame outside, but at some point you will lose the frame, and it there we go, it's gone. So it gets really annoying, especially since I'm orbiting something else. It can get really annoying when you're trying to play the game and at the same time get a good camera angle you can trust, that you can not pay attention to it for a couple of seconds and it'll continue to be good. It's not. And that was the thing with the Alliance tournament, because not only did they have that, but they had a third of the screen missing. And you imagine like a quarter of the screen missing. And that plays havoc when you have something trying to be framed in the lower half of the screen, as it's doing now. And that's what it's trying to do. It's a very difficult thing to get right. And it needs constant management to make it work. I still haven't figured out how to do it. That's why I try to avoid doing it. It looks cinematic. It looks fun. But you've got a high probability of not getting anything useful in the shot because it's not built for framing things. It's not built for a mid shot. It looks great in a mid shot if you can get it right. But the thing is, you can't just assume it's going to look right all the time. That's why yeah, I mean, it's a great system. It just suffers from a lot of it's difficult. You've got dynamic. I don't think it's yeah. You've got dynamic. It's difficult to switch between dynamic and not dynamic. It would be great if I could just go, okay, I just don't want dynamic that split second. I don't think there's a hotkey for that. I can guarantee you there's not. If there was a hotkey to switch between dynamic camera and not, that would help immensely. But I can guarantee you there's not. You know? It's woefully inadequate how few things. It's been 20 years and they, you know, it's like, haven't you guys learned anything? Because they haven't tried it. They just don't care. It's just like, yeah, we're great. And it's like, no, you're not. Your systems are not great, and bragging about it isn't going to make it better. Now, the tactical camera has an advantage. You can go free move. You can go right, click, and drag. And bam, you are fixed in space. You can track. And now you are absolutely fixed in space. You're dead. Your camera is, center of gravity is not moving on an absolute scale. It's difficult to get right, especially because the zoom is really, you know, there's no, can you adjust the sensitivity of the zoom? Probably not. I mean, you'd think so, right? So let's see, camera settings. Nope, see? Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of dumb. Actually, this is just like a first-person thing. You know, it's zoom the sensitivity for, you know, there's no way of actually controlling. It's really janky, right? So you'd think you'd be able to control the zoom, but it's not. So it's really frustrating. These, yeah, it's just pretty pathetic, actually, after this long. Especially since I'm pretty ticked off about the Alliance tournament. Like, I don't want to watch them because I know they're bad, and I know they're not going to improve, and I gave it another look, just in case. They're like, these camera angles aren't working for us, and the interface is kind of janky, and our commentary is kind of behind the times. We should, like, step it up a notch with our game. No, their game's like, whoa, we're the best, and you're like, now I know why I don't want to watch them. I don't learn anything. You guys don't learn anything. And the winners run around spraying champagne all over each other. It's like, okay, great, but it's not like we learned anything. So here's the dynamic camera, and it's really annoying, actually. And why is it being annoying when I'm in tactical camera? It's obeying itself. It was probably just, I was trying to, oh, wait. It wants to do it again. Why is it doing that? I'm in tactical camera. Oh, really? Why is it doing that for tactical? Did I screw it up somehow? Give me a sec. Now it's behaving itself. I wonder why it was doing that. Yeah, there's so many weird oddities. And I'm trying to explain it to you guys. I personally, if I'm flying and I want to get a good, decent shot of something, what I have to do is I go look at, and then I zip around, and I get my own ship, or ideally somebody right next to me, because it's very hard when you're using dynamic camera here to focus on your ship, because it's constantly want to move, and it's like, and you're like that. But if you're in tactical, that's not really even much of a problem. It's not moving the camera this way while this thing is moving that way. You've got a chance of being able to get your ship and do track. And track is great. Whoops, sorry. I forgot I was in tactical. I know, right? So, I have dynamic camera on. And it wants to zoom away. I go track, and it offsets. If I go tactical, and I go track, it's going to remember where exactly I'm positioned. So if I was to, and this is the thing with tracking, you give me a sec. I am going to stop. I'm going to dump something out. I'm going to orbit that, and that way alright, here we go. So now I can select that. I don't think I can select myself. Fairly sure I can't select myself yet. Alright. So damn it. There we go. Alright, so I've got a camera angle I want. We're going to try to track this. We're in tactical. And what's going to happen is my camera is going to stay in this fixed position from this. It's never going to move. This thing could turn towards me. I'm always going to be facing in this direction and have this background in sight. And what I want to do is make a real nice, that would be good if it stays right here. I've got you there. That's a good angle right there, right? So then I go, let's track that cargo container, and it's going to want to have the frame with the cargo container right in the middle, but it's going to ignore what I'm actually looking at, which is really bizarre. And it's very difficult to understand at times, because you're not you just want to, you're just here. Now I'm no longer completely in that same position. I've now zoomed. And and that's the problem with the zoom. I can't finesse the zoom anyway, but I'm still looking at this. I'm tracking this, but I'm able to move the camera position. So I'm always going to have this right there, pretty much. In the my camera position will always be right here, should I say. Sorry, not right there, but here. And it's always going to be right in a position where I'm at this location, but I'm panning towards, I've got framing this. So it's, as you can see, it's not giving me what I want. What I'll do is I'll orbit closer and show you what I mean. So the action will now be focused on me. I'm able to track it. It'd be like I'm tracking myself, basically, from the position of the ship. And you'll see as the NPC ship comes into focus again, I'm still in that exact same position I was. I'm just moving my camera angle now. I'm still looking at him. So it's always wanting to be in the same location, but now I've got control of the zoom level, you know, and I'm tracking it. Okay. So it can get really confusing really fast because I'm still looking at it. And no matter where I go, if I'm screwing with the zoom, I'm altering, like if I'm screwing with the zoom, right? And it's tracking it, but I want to track it from my location. So it's constantly, as you can see, I'm no longer where I was before, I'm over here. So if I zoom in and I'm trying to track it, but still looking at that rat. So I'm not looking at this from a perspective of looking at it, I'm tracking it. So you always have to remember there's two different things, just looking at and tracking, and it can get really complicated with a lot of moving parts. And you want to get the best camera angle, and it's constantly shifting on you, right? So yeah. Now you can't even tell which of the rats you're looking at. So look at my ship, move in. I am dynamic camera, but I am in tactical. And never ever click that off, because it'll just confuse the hell out of you. So here I am. I'm looking at this background right here. You see this? It's not moving a lot, is it? Now, if I look at, say, this thing, you'll see it start to move away. Okay? Now, I haven't quite defined how and why it moves away in dynamic camera, but it doesn't in not. And I haven't quite figured it out. It's really difficult, but it's really annoying. I want the dynamic camera. That means I can focus on something and it'll offset. And it's a beautiful cinematic thing. But if you're not tracking something and you're looking at something, it's really freaking annoying, because it just moves out of your frame so quickly, you know? It's like divining what it's doing. Like, I wish I knew more technical terms about camera use for this, but it's like, yeah. Anyways, it's a system that works fairly. It's difficult to get the right angles, and if I could turn this off using a hotkey, it would make life a hell of a lot better. Because with me, dynamic camera is great for tracking when you use a combination of look at and tracking. It's wonderful, especially when you want to get the perspective of an enemy ship, and a lot of the times you do. It looks cool. You don't want to always look at your own ship, right? So you want to look directly back at your own ship and get a reverse angle on it. It's handy when there's wingmen, so you can get, you can just click them on the overview and get that. Something like that, right? And then dynamic camera is great, but of course it has that, constantly moving on you. It's hard to click on things in space to get it to track. You have to either have it in the overview with something right next to you or something else, and it's difficult a lot of times to get that. It's really frustrating, and you can't do it on the fly a lot. On the fly meaning, oh, I want to look at that. And if you've got dynamic camera off, you can easily click it because it might be moving in one direction, but it's not trying to move in the other direction too. So you're not fighting it. You're like, oh, okay, you can just aim and go, we're intelligent people. We can we can deal with it. But yeah. So it can, if you practice enough at it, and eventually will be. I started recording in 2020, like in end of February. People started actually paying attention to my videos for once in my life, and it was like, holy crap. And mostly it was because I accidentally made clickbait stuff like how I hate ORCAP solo mining and stuff like that. But I wanted to be better at doing this stuff, and watching that Alliance tournament made me think, okay, I think I know what the problem is. I can't describe it exactly how they could be better. I know in broad strokes how they could be better by not acting like damn fools, and wanting, the wide angle pan, but not knowing how to, it's like they've got it's a one trick pony, and that's all they know, and it's really not. They think it works great, but how you think he works is not how it actually works, and Eve doesn't care. And the fact you're ruining your shots is, it's a really bad show, and it could be better, but you're really bad at it. So, okay, great, but you're not trying to improve. That's the thing, But yeah, the dynamic camera is annoying, as you can see, and that's, yeah, and that looks a lot better than the other one. But of course, it's difficult to make work right on the fly. Because you're going in one direction, it's going in the other, and you're like, ah. But it's a wonderful, beautiful way of looking at things. But it's helpful to, if we could, like, the dynamic camera isn't, it's not a problem here. So we can swap into the tactical, track, go back, but then it's not tracking anymore, so you go track again. So I think the only way it's workable as a aesthetic system is to know that you've got to go to this, then you can cut out the dynamic BS. Select the target, don't bother tracking it, because once you go back here, you're not tracking it, and then you can track it. So basically what you're going to have to do is, if you want a really good shot, is find your position. Say you're looking at my ship, you're this way. Let's get that before I go into... Alright, so head towards here. Start regaining some shield, probably, but probably not. Don't want to lose this ship. It's got some kind of bling stuff in it. So we've got this. We want to focus on one of these. We want to quickly go to this angle, and then we can look back at our ship and then click. Well, we can't really. That's the problem. We can't select our own ship, so we don't have that, but we can select something else and then quickly go here. We're looking here, we've got something else selected, and then we can select that. And yeah, I wish there was a way to not only look at your own ship, but track your own ship, because that would mean I could quickly look at this ship and then track my own ship without having to go through these hoops. But yeah, there's a number of things they need to do. Adjust it so that sensitivity includes your zoom. Maybe it's a Windows 10 thing. Let's check it out. Like, if I can control my zoom through Windows 10, that'd be great, but yeah. Mouse. Double click. Pointers. Pointer options. Default pointer options. Select pointer speed. Wheel. Follow the lines at a time. Tilt the what? Roll this to no. Scroll this. Okay, let's try that. I don't think that's gonna work. It'd be great if it does. You know what, folks? I think that's gonna work. Let's try that again. Did that actually do something? Cool. Roll the mouse multiple one screen. No, let's not do that. I don't know what that means. So let's go there. Let's apply it. Oh, okay. Well, that didn't work at all. Damn it! Alright. Roll this. Roll tilt the tilt. What? I didn't even know I could tilt. That's hilarious. Okay, whatever. Annoying as hell. Alright, anyways, sorry. No, you can't, unfortunately, adjust the mouse wheel. It's working right now because I'm lucky. But yeah, it wasn't having any effect from earlier. Yeah, I wish there was a way to track my ship. That would be freaking awesome. Yeah, that way you could literally frame things much easier. Now, is there a way to frame these two easily? I don't think so. It might be possible if I moved... Like, now that we know what we're doing, is it possible to frame... Like, this is going to be the guy in the rear, right? So let's look at... Okay, tactical. We're in tactical. Going to select him. We know we can't get it. And we're going to view. No. Yeah, this is the best we're going to get. Especially, you know, it's not like our actors know where to stand to get best framing, right? We're not going to get that. So the best you're going to get is the ability to, and of course you realize this is in. Now can we take advantage? No, we can't. It wants to look at. Will it turn around? Come this way. Now where am I in relation to? Is the dynamic camera trying to stay in one absolute spot? No, because I'm heading in that direction. There's no way they're going back and forth. So why? Yeah, it's just you don't know. It's like if it was more technically adept at all, experienced at camera work, I might understand where the hell in space this is in relation to me. I'm right here, right? I'm right there. Why is it going back and forth? Like, where is here? Like, I know there and here, there and there, but where is here in relation to these things? Is it trying... Oh, I think I know it. The moment I went to look at this rat, it's not only is it remembering where I am, but where this is and where I originally hit look at, right? I mean, I'm assuming, right? Right? So I'm here. It wants to stay here and keep me in view. Keep my position I originally did in view and look at you too. And keep you in the center frame. I know it's not like they showed this is how it's working. You're like, how the hell is this working? You know, but they're the guys with the code. You know, they can look at it and go, okay, that's the way it works. Now we can work with it instead of like, how the hell do I work with it? You know, without knowing how it works, right? The mechanics behind it. So that's why I'm even more ticked off at the Alliance camera people, because they have the ability to look at the code and go, how is our camera working in the first place? You know, look under the hood and go, okay, there our center of gravity for when we look at something in dynamic camera, this is what happens. You know, and maybe they just don't. Maybe they just don't do that. Maybe they just go, oh, okay, what's your problem? You know. Because here it's like tactical, where it's got this view, and it ain't moving. You know, it's not moving at all. Go to tactical camera. I mean dynamic camera. It ain't moving. It's looking at you. It's looking at you, kid. But you went. Of course, you go to here. It's gonna start its thing. And I swear, okay, let's try it again. Let's go to tactical. Let's get up close, the same angle, right? And now just offset my camera to its free. Look. Look how fast it's going. You know, that's... Okay. Where is it? Where the hell is it? Is it just completely ignoring me now? I guess I've gone too far away. Alright, never mind. They're like, I don't know what we're doing. Alright. Baby steps, basically. It might be a situation where when I do tactical camera, when looking at something... when I do dynamic... It's just staying in space. And wait a minute. It's staying in space and just tracking. Wait a minute. So with dynamic camera on, it's actually putting you into free mode, free look mode, and acting like it's not looking at this, it's tracking, you know? Okay, can we fix it? Now here's the thing, right? We're in dynamic camera. I mean, just reverse engineering everything, right? So this is dynamic camera. We're looking at something. What if we track it at the same time, right? Ooh, barf. Okay, we're looking at and tracking. And then we're still right behind it. Okay, what if we did right? Whoa, hey, cut that out. Whoa, hey, cut that out. What if we tried to track it just as soon as we got in front of it? Let's try to get that. Come on. Okay, so we're gonna track it right in front of it, but we want to be. Okay, so why is it wanting to be always directly behind? I can't force it to. You know, it wants to go directly behind all the time. I'm going to turn around. Can that help me? Can tracking help me? It looks cinematic, all right. And it's definitely not. Let's see. I'm tracking it, right? I'm still tracking it. Okay. All right, that's interesting. Never been able to do this before. This is kind of cool, actually. Like, have you ever seen anybody use this camera angle before? I don't think so. It's kind of cool, actually. All right, let's see if I can crank up the audio. I think that's my ship. I'm not sure. I think that's his. No. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking this, thinking, okay, now I've got free move on. I'm in a fixed arena-like area, and my thought is immediately, oh my god, they could have had multiple cameras going. You know, they could camera switch between the wide shot of it's a fixed arena. You can have everything in the frame. You could have had one camera on wide shot, so you could zoom to it or switch to it anytime you felt it was necessary, and you would have the tight-in shot of certain ships doing the action. You could work a camera, track something, but it wouldn't be your ship, right? So you would effectively be looking at, and you'd have to track something else. Luckily, you'd have it on overview because you wouldn't have a dog in the game, or you don't have a dog in this fight. So yeah, you could. Yeah, what you would be doing in the Alliance tournament, you would have the ability to look at something, track something else. Did they take advantage of that? Probably not. In fact, my intuition says they didn't do that at all. What they did was they were stuck here, went in here, didn't bother using track, and would just want tight-in beauty shots of the ship, and that's all they were interested in. And then they'd zoom to another ship, and they'd kind of zoom out, but they wouldn't have the ability to camera switch between the wide shot, the medium frame shot of two things, and the close-in frame of what they were trying to beautify. That's my guess. Let's take a look at the camera use. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, seriously, right? Let's take a look and just judge
team
the
was
camera.
faced with that list of bands.
So
they would struggle to put together some kind of coherent team comp, but Hydra have done it. The particularly astute amongst you might recognize this as
astute. God. Okay, so ignoring the fact that they should have moved this two things to the side and had it here and here, they would have lost nothing. We'll critique that as well. Already have done. But yeah. So here they go, the wide shot, but all of a sudden they're doing this wild, crazy... What camera options are they getting with this? It looks like they're able to get a frame of everyone somehow. But of course, as you can see, it's pretty much centered on here and ignore. But when they go to here, it's completely like buggered, right? So what are they doing? They are their camera angle is fixed for everything. So they're trying to keep the... Wait, that's... What was that? So they're trying to capture the... And they're not... So they have got... They're following everybody's action with tracking. So they're following everybody's... Are they looking at anything? No, they're not. They are tracking everybody and just selecting whom to look at. Right? So they've got the Bargus looking at them, but it's trying to track everybody. Right? See? It's not doing the normal at all. Right? It's not... The camera is not attempting to stay in one spot. It is literally tracking everybody. And that's the one setting they have. And they will look at something. Like here's the wide angle. It's not looking at anything. And it's just tracking everything. It's free camera. So this is free camera. And it's tracking everything. Not too bad. Give me a sec. I don't want to die. We got a couple of expensive stuff on here, so yeah, let's get the hell out of Dodge. All right. So are they? So this is their free look, and they've got the zoom wheel into a certain area. Now they're looking at the Bargus, and they're... Are they? No, they're dicking around with this weird track everything. Now they're looking at the Bargus, so that's looking at the Bargus. That's looking at the Bargus. But still trying to track everything. Now they're free look. Oh, Jesus. They're free look, and then they engage the tracking of everything. And it just like distorts everything. So they're not looking at anything. They free move, picked a position, and then started tracking everything. So they've got a tool we do not. And they're not using it at all properly. They've just got this setting to track everything, and they can turn it off, or maybe, oh Jesus, yeah, it's very janky. They are refusing to use anything but they, as you can see, they've looked at something, so they're looking at something right now, but still the same tracking. So they're not... What they're not doing is, say, looking at this thing and tracking that, and which would have a much better feel to it. This is just trying to track everything on the field, and it's not the normal camera work. Like, it's not... I don't think it is. Like, maybe... No, it's not. It's very bizarre. But they're not, they're looking at the Bargus. And they're trying to track everything, and everything goes out of frame, right? They'll switch when something goes out of frame, but it's like, but you're not getting the actors in the frame, right? I mean, how, like, remember that option I had for getting right behind that ship? Look at track. They could have easily done that, But they're lucking out. They're basically counting on luck to get some good partial half-second glimpses of decent camera angles, and the rest of it is like, whoa, I'm getting dizzy here. But it's not keeping everything in frame because they're using the long shot, the wide shot, as their default for everything. So they've got this distorted out of frame for everything, but they've just zoomed in. They're not looking at anything, they're just zoomed in right now. They've got the long shot, but they've zoomed the long shot. That's their problem. They've got a one-trick pony. Now this is looking at. But it's like, the hell? And as you can see, the 12 font is not working at all. Yeah, that was... That was their ship. Where was it? So this is their camera right here. That's the center of the thing. That's their camera. When something, I think, dies, right? Their camera. There you go. Yeah, it's just very... They're just clicking on things and going, look at. They've got this wide angle. They can have everything on overview, right? They've got everything on overview. It's not showing on here, but they've got everything on overview. And they're just either looking at or picking a spot in space. And then the tracking engages for everything. But they've got this neat little tool that allows them, A, to see everybody's name, which is freaking great and helpful. And funny that it's interesting that, look, we don't see the names of the pods, you know? We don't see the tickers of the... They should really get rid of this, by the way. This is quite silly, having the range indicators on. But yeah, when you start really looking at it, I mean, dig under, like, get your fingernails, dig into it, and rip at it, because it's like this... They have tools we do not. Look at the way they're using it. And they're like, wait a minute, why do they have in range? It's great that they don't have tags, names for pods. That's really neat. They don't have it for wrecks. They've just got it for the active ships. That is so cool. Where are their tools and how can we use that? Because that would be so helpful. You know, if you could do that in space. It would look messy. You could start learning to clean it up, but the first thing you do is not having it 12 font, that's for sure. So their range is 20 clicks. This is the thing that's being selected. You can see the range on it. Everything else, oh wait, you can see the range on. Okay, so everything you can see range on, and that's because you're the center of the field, so you're able to select everything and get the ranges on what you want. Is that because you've I don't know how, but maybe it's the overview setting, but they're definitely using an overview setting that shows. Yeah, see, it's not looking at anything, it's just picked a spot and it's trying to track everything. And of course, nothing stays in view. Now that was... Like, this is definitely tracking everything, right? Probably not the pods, but I'm not sure, right? Like, how many things are still alive on field? We've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so, yeah, this is... Okay, let's go back. Well, we've got enough time. Okay, so they are trying to track... Like, that's... He's got in a certain position. It wants to stay in that certain spot related to that. So he's looked at that. Is he trying to track? No. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, we've got 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Let's move back here. There's one left. There is one red. Where is it? I can't see it. Like, where's the vigil in all this, right? Is it... Where is it? Where is it? I can't tell where the vigil is. Where's the vigil? If it's... Is it down here somewhere? Blocked? Because we see all this stuff. Can we see the names when they're not in frame? Let me check. Probably not. Let's go back. If we, yeah, we can see that. That's out of frame. We can see it. Yeah, we can see everything. All the names as, and they're down there, right? So we can see, yeah, up there, right? We can see names. So Crazy Vania. Crazy Vania. We got 3 left. Where is, oh, Jesus Christ. Crazy Vania. Ugh. You can tell we're looking at that, right? So we're looking at it. And it's still trying to track everything. Where's that Crazy Vania? It's got to be down here somewhere. Can't see the name, right? Come on, name, pop up. Where are you? Where? Like, this is the thing. It's like, where is the vigil? It's got to be down here somewhere. No, wait, what was that? How did they do that? That was, they were looking at the Scorpion. And then they switched to the Nighthawk? No. They didn't. They free looked. They free looked, and then it. No, they're looking. I was right. They looked at the Nighthawk. God, that was annoying. Where the hell is? It's got to be down here somewhere. Yeah, but all the names will pop up here, on the side. That's really cool. Except the pods. Where is the? Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is the thing. It's like. They should not have this here. It's interfering with everything. I don't know, man. So this is like free move, right? It's fixed in space. And I don't think they adjust it. They just leave it, right? Let's see if they switch the camera angle at all. They don't. And it's got, there we go. So it'll, I think it'll, yeah, it's at a fixed position from the arena, the camera center of gravity, and it's trying to look at all the ships. It might be trying to get even the pods in view. I don't know how their tool is working. Yeah, it might be free look right now. Damn it. So when did it start? They were looking here, then it went, okay, so they switched here. So this is not looking at anybody, it's free. That guy's out of frame. It's trying to track out of frame. And why is that happening? Like, that's a really cool camera shot. Like, how are they adjusting that? Are they like, that's not, they're not looking at it, right? So somehow and it definitely looks like they're not controlling the tracking, right? Because otherwise you'd be like, that's a horrible way to frame things. So they're just letting it do its stuff. But I think I think they're trying to... What?